What it do, YouTube? It's your boy, Stank815, and I'm back with another video. Y'all new to this channel, man, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, share, comment, get notified when I drop these videos, turn on all post notifications. Today we're going to be looking at Eminem reveal how Suge Knight tried to press him, but he wasn't going. And y'all also stay tuned and turn on them notifications. Guess what? We got them pranks that's probably going to be coming real soon to this channel. It's gonna be hilarious. Let's get into this video.
Like a pull up, light a cigar, you see tattoos on their face, but we like, damn, what we got to lose? If we don't pop now, we going back to the hood. This is when I knew Eminem was real. It's like, don't give a man. That's true. This is when I knew. I'm like, damn, Eminem is a real.
Suge looked at him, and he took a puff of his cigar, and he blew it out, and he did like this, and he left.
When you hear the name of Suge Knight, you simply know that you don't want to mess with him. But 50 Cent and Eminem are the figures who firmly stood up against Suge Knight when he was thought to be a heck of a guy. Everyone in the industry was aware of the fact that when you have beef with Suge, you are no longer safe. Despite this, 50 Cent and Eminem kept themselves involved in some serious feuds with Suge throughout the years, and revealed their stories of life threats and planned hits. It seems Suge Knight does not have the knack to impose his fear on these guys like others.
Now it kind of changed a little bit. Like when somebody from the barbershop like punch you and knock you out after that, like you knocked out like the guy from the barbershop do that, it changed.
How Suge Knight intimidated people. On the West Coast during the golden age of hip-hop, Suge Knight ran the streets simultaneously with his record label. Suge was the man in the streets, and he still oversaw a label that released albums by Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, and Tupac. However, strangely, there were some young rappers who dared to stand up against Suge Knight, and they were none other than 50 Cent and Eminem.
But he's never afraid of the world. He's always giggling. And I remember this story. It's why I always said, are you enlightened?
This was what made Suge afraid of them. Their recklessness was unparalleled. While everyone trembled at the mention of Suge's name, they remained composed and unfazed, keeping their sanity and heads held high.
I'm in front of the camera like this. Everybody was running. It was just gone.
Suge was the former record producer and owner of Death Row Records, but apart from his music, he was also known for his controversial and violent behavior, and earned the name Boogeyman. Suge Knight's controversial and often violent behavior has made him a notorious figure in the music industry.
They was not scared of Suge Knight. They was terrified.
His claimed participation in Tupac's murder was a major factor in his subsequent notoriety. Many people believe that Suge was involved in the shooting of Tupac because he was with Tupac on the night he was killed.
Not just by being in the car with the murders, but he was more involved than people think. It was the conversations and all that shit that led up to that day.
Moreover, Suge's reputation for violence and intimidation among his peers in the music industry and beyond was well documented. For instance, he reportedly beat up Vanilla Ice's bodyguards and threatened to throw him off a balcony if he didn't give over the rights to his popular song Ice Ice Baby to Suge's label.
I had my bodyguards who had guns, and they had their people which had guns, and he had us outpowered and outnumbered.
In addition to that, he was found guilty of a number of additional offenses, some of which included trafficking in a lethal weapon and assaulting a family member. The fact that Knight is associated with the Bloods gang has given rise to rumors that he has exploited his contacts in the music industry in order to advance the objectives of the gang.
So if you shoot somebody, you go to jail family. Kids, you don't want to go to jail family, right?
The feud between Suge Knight and Eminem. When you consider all of these things, it becomes clear why Suge earned a reputation as a tough, dangerous, and controversial person in the music industry. He was surely a difficult guy. This is what Cat Williams said about Suge. Now, New York is worse than Chicago, and California with the drill, because they are throwing like their dead friends in there. When we had battle raps with Ja Rule in them, they was still alive. But there's no remorse with the drill music. They are shooting little kids. When Eminem was just starting out in the music industry in the late 1990s and early 2000s, he faced a lot of competition and had to overcome a lot of challenges. Suge Knight was one of those individuals who was notorious for threatening anyone who he thought had even a remote chance of being successful in the rap world, and Eminem was not an exception.
you really doing those things you rapping about, you talking about, I can respect that.
Right.
If somebody else writing your rhymes, somebody else is you telling somebody else's story, that really don't mean nothing to me.
Believe it or not, Suge Knight was determined to get rid of him as quickly as possible, and he attempted to kill him on multiple occasions. In at least 2 separate instances, Suge was charged with attempting to kill Eminem. These charges were initially brought to light by Byron Big Naz Williams, who had served as Eminem's bodyguard.
This motherfucker's trying to man, what they trying to do? What do they want? I don't understand. What do they want? I say, hey, man, they want you.
According to him, the alleged assault took place for the first time in 2001 at the Source Hip Hop Awards, around the time Big Naz became associated with Eminem, at the height of his fame with My Name Is. Although Naz initially turned down Eminem's offer to collaborate at this time, he later changed his mind and agreed to give it a shot.
So it was a duality of beef going on at the same time during the time I was protecting this guy.
On the very first night that Eminem and Big Naz worked together, Big Naz had to physically defend Eminem from a potential threat, despite the fact that Big Naz first joined the team with the intention of becoming closer to the music industry executives in his role as a producer. Their primary focus switched to ensuring Eminem's safety. He said, I was working against the devil, and through the grace of God Master P and Priority Records put a deal together that was suitable for me. He recalled the incident that happened during the Hip Hop Awards in 2001, which included Suge and his associates. When it came to who was sitting where during the awards presentation, there was a rigorous protocol to follow, as Big Naz claims, and many other people also commented about it during the show itself. It was not appropriate for the group of artists and bodyguards who were at odds with each other to sit so close together. He said, we were at the Source Awards and we all know historically in the past, the Source Awards, someone always got shot. That was our first encounter with Suge Knight and his henchmen. M was going to his seat. The way they had the seating was all messed up, and the bodyguards couldn't sit with the artists. I think that was by design, because I think they really wanted the artists to be able to network with each other, but it also gives people who got beef with other artists to get at them. At that time, there was a lot of tension in the rap game, and the organizers had a fairly clear idea of what they wanted to steer clear of. They were concerned about the possibility of a full-blown fight breaking out during an awards event. The situation was completely out of the blue and very chaotic.
We were on the turf in LA during the whole East Coast, West Coast beef between New York and LA.
Eminem and his crew had the mistaken belief that they were safe, but in reality, they were caught in the crossfire between Suge Knight's Death Row Records and Dr. Dre. When Eminem went to sit down in the chair, a bunch of men in red shirts encircled him and began yelling the word Death Row. They also claimed that Suge had sent them to cause trouble.
And all these guys in red shirts surrounded him. And I'm looking at M's face, and I'm looking at these guys. I'm like, shit, something ain't right.
This unexpected turn of events caught everyone off guard and made them realize the danger they were in. To protect Eminem and ensure his well-being, Naz stepped up and promptly alerted Dr. Dre and his bodyguards about the situation.
I'm calling Dre's bodyguards. Call Dre, and we look, man, we got a serious issue, man. Death Row is here, and they trying to fight. They trying to do whatever they gonna do.
Following the incident that occurred at the Source Hip Hop Awards, Big Naz was on high alert, and he took steps to guarantee that Eminem was protected at all costs.
Serious alert at that point.
At that point, it was high alert.
He also asked for a car to be on standby in case there was an unexpected emergency, but due to the strict security measures in place, the limos were only allowed to park in front of the red carpet for a short time.
The limo's pulling off as we're coming out. Death Row's behind us.
As a result, Big Naz, Dr. Dre, and Dre's bodyguards were required to maintain a high state of readiness backstage in order to keep an eye out for any potential dangers to Eminem, while Dr. Dre and his bodyguards stayed in beast mode to dissuade anyone from approaching. Big Naz took up the position in front of Eminem and his associates, ready to jump into action at a moment's notice to defend Eminem.
So you couldn't even see him behind me. So the whole time, I'm on knockout mode or breakneck mode. You know, I'm more dangerous with my hands than I am with a gun.
Despite the fact that the scenario was stressful and potentially hazardous, Eminem did not back down from his position. He showed true bravery by standing his ground, fearlessly facing Suge Knight's thugs even when they threatened him.
And we were all worried, man, that something can happen to us on our watch, man. You gotta understand something. I was under a lot of pressure, man.
According to Big Nas, this was the first of 2 purported attempts on Eminem's life by Suge Knight. Big Nas also alleges that Suge Knight tried to harm Eminem during an event that took place in Hawaii. Big Nas claims that they received word that Suge was going to hurt Eminem during the event, so they had to be careful and make sure that Eminem was protected at all costs. According to the allegations, Suge Knight sent more than 50 of his thugs from Los Angeles to interrupt a get-together with M, Snoop Dogg, and Dr. Dre. Big Nas also said that the trip could no longer be considered a holiday because everyone was packing their firearms and putting on bulletproof vests while sitting next to their wives. Along with the bodyguards, Honolulu police officers were tasked with accompanying them for the rest of the trip. He said, "Yeah, it was supposed to be a vacation, but it wasn't. We all had our wives, some people had their kids with them. We thought it was a vacation, but it ended up being a fucking problem. When we got off the plane, we ended up escorted by Honolulu policemen, and we had to gather up our kids, our wives, and had to be rushed to the transport van. It was imperative that Big Nas and the other bodyguards rapidly get ready for the worst case scenario by donning bulletproof vests. They were forced to rely on Interscope to pay for the expense of having a police officer from the Honolulu Police Department accompanying them, as an additional layer of protection, due to the extent of Suge's influence in the area."
I did go over there with a bulletproof vest on, heavy artillery, because you don't know how this shit gonna go. You know, I was hoping to talk.
It's not just Big Nas who remembers what happened during that shift. There were other guys too. Reggie Wright Jr. was heavily involved in the death row industry. He served as a police officer in the past and was the head of security for Death Row Records.
Suge had no intentions then. That's when they started talking.
So according to Reggie Wright Jr., Dr. Dre and the company were going to visit Power 106 as part of a promotional run. The special campaign would allow listeners of the radio station to win tickets for a private concert that was hosted in Hawaii. When Reggie Wright Jr. learned of the plans, he did not waste any time in passing them on to Suge Knight, who was currently serving time in prison.
It's like, oh no, these niggas ain't going out to Hawaii and have a ball. It ain't happening on our watch.
In addition, it just so happened that Reggie booked a seat on the same trip to Hawaii as Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, and Eminem. Consequently, he explained the whole incident which took place between M and Suge's goons.
But now him and this bodyguard on there, so they terrorizing him on the flight.
But at the end of the day, they all made it out alive and well. For many fans, it is quite a relief that nothing big happened to Eminem and the others. One of them wrote, "Good to see Big Reggie admit their faults. Even as a diehard Death Row fan, hearing these stories can be good for a laugh. But then you realize how disappointing it was for the label, and a reason why so many didn't want to do business with them." Another commented, "People love truth. Stories. Damn, Reg, when the ID channel pick you guys up? These are stories for the Culture Museum. Can't help but love it." Suge never succeeded in eliminating Eminem, despite his best efforts. Considering the power that Suge possessed at the time, and his desire to exert his authority over virtually everyone he could, it was really a big deal that M would not just comply with his demands.
You see all these guys talking about death row, motherfucker, death row. Death row, motherfucker, death row. So by this time, I cut in.
The feud between Suge Knight and 50 Cent. The audacity did not just come from Eminem, because apparently, Suge Knight also went after 50 Cent for the same thing. Eminem and 50 Cent got along when Eminem was first signed by Dr. Dre's label, when he left Death Row Records after realizing Suge's dirty tactics. While working for Dre, Eminem saw the music videos of emerging young artist 50 Cent.
Yeah, Eminem, he had got his hands on a copy of a mixtape that I put out through my attorneys, Theo Stoudemire, Paul Rosenberg is Eminem's representation.
50 knew very well that he wanted to pursue a career in the music industry, and Eminem was the first one who recognized his talent and hustle after hearing his Guess Who Is Back CD. Eminem called Dre and told him about Cent's untapped potential that he saw in the videos of the artists.
I brought it to Dre. Dre heard it. He was sold. And basically we said, let's do a joint venture.
After Dre had to listen to his songs, 50 Cent was quickly signed to Aftermath. At that point, 50 Cent and Suge Knight experienced a turning point. Why? Because the signing of the contract with Dre and M meant that 50 was finally able to keep up with the big boards. It seemed inevitable that he would eventually become a hip-hop superstar, and with that status would come a significant amount of responsibility, the kind of obligation that transforms a person into a whole different person.
He would put up a track, he would write it, spit it, and go, yo, put up another one, put up another one, put up another one. And that was it.
At the time, Suge had recently been released from prison following a 5-year sentence, and eventually, he got around to repairing his record company's damage. He had no idea that Dr. Dre's former signee, 50 Cent, together with the new talent he had signed on with him, would soon become his biggest rival in the industry.
It's unfortunate that things turned out the way they did, but nobody knows what the future holds.
Exactly.
And I'm just trying to move on with my life.
When Suge Knight started the Death Row Records company, he had clear goals for how far he wanted to take it. He'd have to establish his authority. It was only a matter of time before he met 50 Cent, and that moment came in 2002.
Everybody running, dropping, like, man, everybody going, I'm in front of the camera like this.
50 Cent was in the studio shooting the music video for his now iconic hit In the Club, which is credited with catapulting his career to new heights. During the performance, one of the participants started yelling, "Suge Knight is here," and that's when things started becoming a little bit chaotic.
Somebody said, Suge Knight here. I was at the bar, gang was there, he was shooting in the club scene.
Suge Knight allegedly came up to 50 Cent with 30 of his men before anyone could figure out what was going on. To make it clear that he was here and would be keeping a tight eye on everything that was going on, 50's crew dispersed before the intimidating West Coast mogul.
Suge looked at him, and he took a puff of his cigar, and he blew it out, and he did like this, and he left.
And this was the end of the meeting. Suge was probably expecting to hear 50 Cent begging for mercy. Yet, he got the response that was nothing like that. Clearly, 50 showed no fear of the intimidating gang that was standing right in front of him. After this, Suge knew that meeting 50 has no gains, and 50 continued to make one of the most memorable videos of all time. Nobody knew why Suge appeared exactly that day, but Eminem had some clues.
We have a chance to maybe do something with him. Let's try to see what's up. So I think the first time I met 50 was at a release party. Was it in New York?
And on the basis of Suge's planned hit and attempts to kill Eminem, it is quite sure that he probably came to the studio of In the Club to finish 50 Cent.
No action, no business. Every running, getting up out of there. Every New York killer, whatever you name, all these that was like the right books.
But now, lots of time has passed since Suge tried to establish his dominance in the rap game. Nonetheless, people can't help but contrast Suge and Eminem's current situations. It's common knowledge that Suge is currently imprisoned, and nobody knows when he'll be released. His previously considerable influence has since dissipated. His results were completely negative, and Eminem and 50 Cent made one of the most successful rap careers and are often considered the best ever.
I don't know if we really set out to create anything. It was more, let's just make the best music that we can make. Patiently Waiting was one of the first beats I sent Fifth, actually.
Not only are they the best rappers in the industry, but their unpredictable encounters made them famous for their ideal friendship, too. Suge, on the other hand...
What it do, y'all? What y'all think about the the Eminem, Suge Knight, 50 Cent, Dr. Dre, Snoop, all that situation? To me, I feel like Suge Knight was trying to be a bully of the rap game, and certain people wasn't going. Y'all give me y'all comments, y'all give me y'all input, y'all let me know how y'all feel about that, man. It's sad because Death Row, that's crazy because I used to have a Death Row chain when I was little, so I was team Death Row, I ain't gonna lie, I was, but y'all let me know who y'all was rocking with. Was y'all rocking with the East Coast? Was y'all rocking with the West Coast? Was y'all rocking with Tupac? Was y'all rocking with Biggie? Was y'all rocking with Eminem? Was y'all rocking with 50? And I was rocking with 50 and Em, and I'm gonna be honest, right now, to this day, I said after Tupac, Eminem was the best rapper alive after Tupac. And that's my opinion. I don't care who don't like it. If you don't like it, that's on you. That's my opinion.